Hello, everyone. How are you guys today? So, today I'm going to share more stuff on robotic process automation. So, let me share first the slides. Um, but today is going to be a bit different because I'm going to look at a specific function which is related to payments. Okay. See. Um, Purchase to pay. Okay, there we go. So today's topic is related to purchase to pay. And purchase to pay is similar like the payables team. Like if you're thinking of working in the accounts department, but it's so huge, so they have to split the functions across payments and payables, payments, and cash, receivables, general ledger and stuff. So when you work for a large organization, they have to split the departments, okay, into for example, payable, receivable, cash, general ledger, and so forth. Okay, so today we're going to look at a specific function. Okay, for this video only, we're going to be looking at purchase to pay, or they call it P2P. Okay, a P2P function in the finance department embedded with robotic process automation. So P2P embedded with RPA. Mhm. So let's start. Okay, so I just want to get you guys familiar with the term P2P. So at least you will not be surprised when you see that some companies actually have been using this for years onwards. They've already used purchase to pay or procure to pay, P2P. They wouldn't use PTP, because the word T, stands for something else. So they will want to use the number two to show as purchase to pay, or procure to pay. So it refers to the full cycle from procuring goods or services to paying suppliers. It's similar to the accounts payable function for a smaller company or accounts payable team for a larger organization. So it includes purchase, requisition, vendor selection, ordering, receiving, invoice processing, and payment. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. And we have here enterprise resource planning, ERP, and procure to pay. You'd be wondering what is ERP. So the thing is like ERP actually automates the purchase to pay or procure to pay function or department. And imagine you're trying to record payments, or you're trying to record payables to your suppliers. You don't want to use a ledger book, take a pen and write in a book and just note down the person's name, amount and so forth. This could lead to fraud, in a longer term. And it's just, even though there's no fraud, it's going to lead to inefficiencies. So to support the whole department of procure to pay, you would have ERP, enterprise resource planning, and it's actually brilliant. This system, ERP system, is very brilliant. It's a system where they integrate, it's like a platform. So they integrate everything from procurement, finance, accounts payable, inventory, supplier management into one platform. Excellent. This is very good. And you can see that this comes in you probably heard of it already, like SAP, Oracle, that. So those are ERP systems which are well known globally, and it's very, very highly recommended to be used in large organizations. And what happens here is that they would have, it depends on the subscription. If a company purchases the ERP system, they would need to then select whether they want to have it for their purchase to pay department. So then this purchase to pay department will be supported by this platform of ERP. Okay. And every step of the P2P process is standardized, traceable, and automated using P2P, using ERP. So ERP is really brilliant. And to make it more brilliant, we want to automate the ERP using the RPA. You imagine, like, because ERP is not new. When I started working like 20 years ago, okay, I had to use ERP. I had to use the SAP back then, and also GSAP. I think is global SAP when I was working at Shell, in the finance department of Shell, back in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And what happened was that the SAP system was pretty good because it was supported by Shell Global, and they, required that all employees in Malaysia to actually go for training, SAP training, and it's really complicated. So SAP is not a simple function because it's a ERP, it's a form of ERP system. And what's happened now is that companies want to actually um, automate the ERP. Imagine that, because we are moving forward so fast that ERP system is not enough. So imagine ERP system is really brilliant already. I think it's really brilliant. But the things like um, we need to automate it using bots. So now we're going to have RPA embedded into the P2P, and which was going to be helping to make the ERP function more up to date and fast and everything, efficient and everything. So exciting times. I would say. The thing is that I just need to keep up to date and keep up with the trend, because the thing is, if your clients or suppliers are actually using the bots on top of their ERP systems, and if you're not doing it as well, then you're probably left behind. Okay, so now let's have a look at this slide. Procure-to-Pay process in ERP covers the entire life cycle of purchasing goods and services and paying suppliers. So within the P2P process, you would have the purchase requisition, purchase order creation, GRN, I would say like good receipts note. I would say like good receipts, or service confirmation, invoice receipt and matching, payment processing, and accounting entries and compliance. So basically, if you are um, a team member of the payables team, that it could be that you could just be doing only one of it. Imagine, because if your company is really huge, or maybe you're doing just one person is doing maybe two. Okay, maybe one is doing payment processing, the other one doing accounting entries and compliance, or maybe two. I mean, two for each function. Okay, so it depends on the size of your organization, and companies like Shell would have huge teams, huge payables teams, because they are handling payments for the whole of Southeast Asia, for example. Okay, then we have the goal of integrating RPA into the P2P cycle. So the things that we want to have it more efficient. So we're trying to integrate the bots into the P2P cycle. So the P2P cycle includes the ERP. Okay, and what's going to happen here is that we have why we want to integrate the RPA into the P2P cycle is that we want to eliminate manual intervention, number one. Number two, reduce processing errors. Number three, accelerate procure-to-pay workflows, enhance supplier relationship management, ensure better compliance and audit trails, and finally, enable straight-through processing. Let's have a look at the next slide. Functions of ERP in each of the P2P tasks. So for those who are not familiar with P2P, we want to share on what's the description of each of the P2P tasks, and what are the ERP functions that actually help the task. Because if you don't have the ERP functions, means you're going to do it manually, like you're going to take a pencil or pen and write it on a piece of paper or a ledger book, or back in the days they do that, but for large organizations you're not going to be able to do that. And more to security, and we want to reduce any errors in fraud and so forth. Okay, so we have the first one, purchase requisition, in which the ERP function is where users raise requests in the ERP module using the SAP Materials Management or Oracle iProcurement. So nowadays, I think like if you were to use SAP, and you know that you would have a SAP experience or skills or maybe a certification, it's going to be different from Oracle. And as you know, that SAP and Oracle are competitors. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea if you would take both certifications. I think it will be just confusing yourself. But it's good to stick to one and get yourself certified in maybe SAP. Okay, SAP certified user, okay, for example, or SAP consultant. Okay, but all SAP consultants usually start from SAP users. That you need to actually use it first, and then work with it and so forth. And we have the next one, purchase order creation, where the ERP auto generates purchase orders from approved requisitions, workflow approval rules apply. Okay, and then we look at vendor management. Vendor master data is maintained in ERP. POs reference validated vendor IDs. Okay, this is impossible if you need to use manual, I would say, book to keep all the details of your vendor. So you probably need this vendor master data, okay, management. And you have these goods or service receipts, stores or departments confirm goods receipt in ERP, triggering inventory updates and GRN, good receipt note. Okay. Invoice processing, vendor invoices are received manual or by EDI, and matches with PO and GRN in the ERP. Okay. EDI is electronic data processing. Okay. And then we have three-way matching. Three-way matching, we have ERP checks of PO equals to invoice equals to receipt, and in which, of course, discrepancies will be flagged by the ERP system. And then we have the payment run, in which the ERP either set FI or Oracle AP schedule systems post to general ledger and communicates with banks. So payment run means that I used to have my former colleague in Shell. She handles the payment runs, and we have this payment run team. So within the payment run team, there's about 12 payment runners for each country. I think we were working with countries. The work was split across countries, and the payment run team leader has to make sure that the payment run actually reaches the banks for payments. And it's really interesting. When we first started our department back then, we didn't need to have a payment run team. We only had the payment run person, payment run employee within the P2P team. So the P2P team would have the P2P team leader, and then the P2P P2P employees, I think about 10 or 12, depending on what job they need to do. And then they would have one payment runner. So after all transactions have been executed, then, according to batches, then only the payment run will be executed. But the thing is, well, as the company grew and transactions increased, they needed to have their own payment run team. And that's really amazing to show how the business actually grew so much over the years. And then finally, we have this reporting and compliance. So the RP provides audit trails, tax calculations, and compliance with internal controls and policies. Okay, now let's have a look at this next slide. So here are the examples of ERP systems used in the P2P tasks. The most common one is SAP, and previously 20 years ago we thought that global SAP GSAP was the most amazing up-to-date system, but now we have SAP S4HANA. S/4HANA. So if you have S/4HANA, that means you're working with the latest SAP version. Okay. We have materials management, finance, and accounts payable. FI, and AP. And for Oracle, if your company is using Oracle, then you would have procurement cloud, payables, and payments. And you also have Microsoft Dynamics 365, Info Cloud, Info Cloud Suite, Info Cloud Suite, and NetSuite. So the thing is like the most sought after ERP system, I would say, would be, that's why it's at the top there, SAP S/4HANA. But still companies are still using Oracle, and yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the famous one will be SAP S/4HANA. Okay, now let's have a look at the benefits of ERP in P2P. So the thing is like people will ask like, okay, why do we need to have the ERP system? Because for small companies, right, they won't be able to afford ERP because ERP is really expensive. Like to actually get the licensing of SAP. You would see large companies use it like Dell, Intel, Micron, JBill. They would use that because those are large companies, multinational companies operating worldwide with many branches uh, worldwide, and they could afford that, and they actually needed it at the same time because they need to streamline across countries and time zones. So that's why they needed the ERP. But small companies, like if they can invest in ERP, then it's really good because it's like a one-stop platform. It integrates all the departments into one system. So as you can see here, the benefit number one is integration, where it combines procurement, finance, and inventory into one system. Real-time data, instant visibility into requisitions, payments, and inventory, standardization, consistent process across departments and locations, compliance, built-in controls for tax, audit, and internal policies, and efficiency, speed up approvals, matching, and payments. Amazing. Okay, you can imagine ERP is such an amazing platform, even without the bots. But now, nowadays, everything needs to be automated. So the ERP must be automated as well. Okay, now let's have a look at the challenges of ERPs, because not everything is rosy with ERPs, because there are some glitches, challenges as well. So let's have a look at the first challenge, which is the complex setup. See, I told you, it's very complicated. Configuration of approval rules, vendor master, and tax codes requires expertise. So usually, if you want to set up SAP or Oracle, you need to get those SAP consultants or Oracle consultants who actually come and set it up for you. Okay, actually, they need to sit with you for at least for about a month or so to, make sure your system is running well. Okay, and then we have change management. Teams may resist new workflows and system interfaces, because if you were doing all your jobs manually, then suddenly you want to implement ERP, you need a lot of training, and you need also the right attitude, the people with the right attitude to actually want to change and want to learn new things. And as you can see, like maybe like companies, what they did was when they start to change the new system, they start offering new salary packages. So like if you are actually what do you call it, ERP certified or SAP certified, then you get a higher salary. Then people will start going, okay, I will take up SAP certification. So because the salary gap is quite huge, because SAP is such a huge global ERP software, and once you know how to do it in Malaysia, you can work anywhere around the world and you still know how to do it. Okay. And usually these SAP users eventually will become, if they want to, SAP consultants, because they've gone through all the problems. Okay, and so usually the consultants are the ones handling all the problems. Okay, 24/7. But their salary is like amazing. It's their salary is going on per hour, per day, and stuff. It's really huge. And integration with RPA, many older legacy. Okay, when I'm talking about legacy, it means these are the old ERP systems that people don't actually use anymore. And companies which still have it is because they find it costly to change to SAP S4HANA. For example, I did ask some companies, like the first one I think was AMD in Penang. They managed to upgrade to SAP S4HANA, and I think Jabil did as well. But I think Micron wasn't that quick. So I did ask my former students who are accountants there working in Micron in Penang as well. So I sort of asked them, like, so your company is using SAP, right? Is it S4HANA? Oh no, we're still using SAP. I can't remember. They mentioned something else, which is a lower version of HANA. And they asked, how did you know? I mean, like, because my former student was shocked, like, how could the lecturer know, like, as for HANA and stuff? Say, oh, uh, I would say, like, Dell. I think AMD. No, I think it was AMD. AMD was the one that came to us, and JBill was the one as well that managed to upgrade quickly. So the thing is, like, it's costly to upgrade, but the benefits are really huge. So they have the new features, and if your employees can actually learn up quickly, then actually it will benefit the whole organization. Okay, so the thing is, if you're using older legacy ERPs, it's not going to work well with automation. Okay, it's just like a human. So how it's going to work is, like, if you implement the bot, okay, sorry, you install the bot onto the old ERP system, it's just going to act like the bot's going to be like a human. The bot will log in into the UI, okay, user interface, and then start processing exactly like a human. Okay, because the old ERPs, they don't have the right functions to become compatible with the bots. The bots are really up to date. So so we encourage companies who are still using the older ERPs. That's why companies like AMD and JBill, once they know that SAP has upgraded to S4HANA, they quickly upgrade it. Okay, because they want to streamline with the bots that they're having, because all these companies, they have the bots already in their ERP system, and they don't want things to go slow, because the thing is, like, the process will be much slower and unstable. I'm just afraid that it might crash because it is not compatible, right? So once it crashes, oh God, you don't want to know the cost of trying to retrieve the lost data, and the time lost and everything. Okay, licensing costs, ERP systems can be costly for small organizations. So we would like to suggest for small organizations to come up with uh, maybe a mini ERP. Okay, I think most ERP systems nowadays would have something of a lesser um, system to integrate with smaller organizations, depending on the functions. Because the thing is, like, some companies, like some small companies, they don't have the large functions to actually operate like the big companies. So that's why it's not suitable for them to actually install the SAP S4HANA, for example. Okay. Now let's have a look at the comparison between the manual processing and RPA automation. So let's have a look at the first P2P task. We have purchase requisition. So when you look at manual processing, the employee submits a requisition via ERP. Okay, and then you compare it to the automation. Bots will validate requests, budget, and sends for approval. So the bots will know how to validate requests, budget, and sends for approval, because you have programmed that. So if you're an employee that used to actually process or submit the requisition, you can look at exception handling. You can look at because maybe you're the ones in which the um, automation automation consultant would come and talk to you and see what you did actually, so they can actually do the programming. And sometimes, like some companies, right, if they see the employees, right, they really want to learn something new, then they will let the old employee to actually learn how to do automation, either using, I think, Blue Prism, UiPath. I mean, there's quite a number of automation systems being used, but what you need to do is, like, you need to learn coding. And it's not surprising that now accountants are learning how to do coding. Mhm. I mean, kids will know how to. I mean, like I'll be ashamed, like because I know kids using Python would know how to do programming and actually design games. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, that's not my generation, but I'm really amazed at what kids can do now because Python can be used to design games because it's some sort of automation as well for Python. But for processing, right? Maybe you could use UiPath or Blue Prism and so on. Depends. Okay, so if you want, you can tell your employer that you learn coding, so at least you can design on what the bot is supposed to generate or what the bot is supposed to do. Then you have this purchase order creation. Manual processing, procurement team creates the PO. But here the robot will generate the PO based on approved requisition. You are the one that, you know, program the robot to do so. And then we have the vendor communication. Mm, vendor communication, the PO will be sent to the vendor, but here the bot will email the PO to vendor and updates the ERP. Wow. So, and then we have goods receipt. Okay, warehouse confirms delivery, and the bot logs delivery confirmation on imports or imports data from scanning software. So the bots will take over the job. Okay, where of the warehouse because they control everything because those people working in the warehouse, they are the ones that design the bots to do so. Okay, and then invoice receipt, the AP team, AP is accounts payable team, receives vendor invoice. So the RPA, the bot will capture invoice by the OCR. Remember in our previous video we talked about OCR, which are the eyes of the robot. They don't have eyes, so they have OCR. The OCR tool will actually extract the data and enters into the ERP system. And then we have the three-way matching. So the manual processing, the human will actually match the PO, invoice, and delivery. And here, if you're using automation, the bot will perform matching and flags any discrepancies. For payment processing, the human will actually perform manual entry into the banking portal. Okay. And RPA automation, the bot schedules and execute payments and logs into the ERP. Finally, for record archival and reporting, we have humans archiving invoices and create reports. And actually, with the bots, actually stores files and sends daily or weekly status reports. So, what we're trying to share here is that for manual processing, okay, these are the things done by the human. Whatever needs to be done, uh, because ERP is not fully automated. ERP needs a human to actually work on it. ERP is a software which is very high-end sophisticated software. But you still need human to actually key in the data and so forth. But now what they're trying to do is they're trying to ask the bot to take over the human entering the data into the ERP system. So that is like amazing because back then we thought that ERP was the thing, but now we know that it's actually if you're not using RPA on top of ERP, then actually you're sort of like left behind. Okay, now looking at advantages of P2P embedded with RPA. Well, you can see here, advantage number one, speed. Cuts down cycle time from days to hours. Accuracy reduces manual errors in PO invoice matching. Cost savings, fewer human resources needed for transaction processing. Compliance ensures audit trails and data consistency. Scalability handles growing volume without increasing headcount. Finally, 24/7 operation. Okay, this humans cannot compete. Okay, bots can work 24/7. We can't. Okay, we need to rest. We need to eat. We need to go to the washroom. We need to sleep. Okay, we need just to sit down and just take a break. Okay, but bots can do the job 24/7. So I wouldn't want to compete with a bot because I would want to do something more sophisticated that the bot cannot do because actually the bot was programmed by me. by you. Okay, so that's why we want so we want the bot to do it, and the bot is like an assistant to you. Mhm. Okay, so here it says bots can run overnight to clear backlog. Overnight for humans, no. If you work overnight, then tomorrow morning you have to go to sleep. You sleep on your desk. Okay, now let's have a look at these challenges of P2P embedded with RPA. Yes, there will be challenges. We need to acknowledge that. So, of course, initial setup costs is really expensive, and it's got the licensing and training, because you need, once you require, you get the licensing, you need to send your staff for training. 'Cause everyone needs to go. Whoever is in charge of payments needs to go for the ERP. First, they need to be ERP certified. They need to have the SAP certification. They also then they need to get the RPA certification as well. So it's like double certification. Okay, both cost money. And then we have process rigidity. Bots can fail if input format changes. Okay, whatever you program the bots to do, if you change something due to maybe some tax laws change or whatever, then the bots will not function properly. So you need to stop the program if there's any changes. So that's why you need to have SAP consultants or Oracle consultants, at hand. Maybe you want to train your own consultants within your own company to save money, because if you call for the consultants out there, we have a lot of consultants in Penang, in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. But the thing is, like, they're gonna charge you per hour, and their salary is really huge. They charge you per hour, and it's like, the prices are really, really expensive. Okay, exception handling. Bots struggle with complex exceptions without AI. So exception handling, remember, in our previous video, we talked about humans are the ones that's going to be handling the exceptions, because since humans are the ones that actually program the bots, and so they would know what is the, disadvantage of the bot. Maybe they can't do a certain thing because there's no program for that, and or the coding will be too difficult because it's something, one-off exception and so forth. Okay, integration gaps, difficulty integrating with legacy ERP or email systems. Okay. Legacy means old ERP systems or email systems. Sometimes they're not compatible. Okay. Change management, staff resistance, and role realignment may be needed. So usually, once you have all these ERP system in place, ERP, there's no problem. You will see a lot of staff will be ERP qualified, SAP qualified, Oracle qualified. They will know how to enter the invoices. They will know how to work with the latest SAP changes. Once, even if you were to use the previous SAP system and now you want to implement SAP S/4HANA, you can still train them, because it's not going to be much changes, and they already have a lot of background in SAP processing. But the thing is, like, for staff, there needs to be, changing roles. Okay, from maybe P2P to O2C. Okay, I'm going to in my next video, I'm going to talk about O2C, order to cash. So if you want to move that staff from P2P to O2C and they don't want to, so this is a big problem. Or even if this staff is doing payment run, then say, like, I'm going to ask you to do something else. Maybe you can look at vendor master data, arrangement, or maintenance. Then they'll say, like, okay, this is something that I don't want to do because I probably want to stay in payment run. So you have to talk to you need to have a team meeting and see what people want. Actually, it's very simple. What you need to do is, like, work with what they want to do, and you can just rotate the work across. Here we have an example with uh, Ericsson. Okay, Ericsson is a global telecommunications and networking company based in Sweden. Okay, so its core business is focused on providing telecom infrastructure services and software to telecom operators and enterprises. Okay, so we want to share with you on how Ericsson has managed to embedded embedded the RPA into their P2P. Okay, let's see. This is just the introduction. Okay, Ericsson is a telecommunications company. They're using SAP. They're not using Oracle. And the RPA tool is Automation Anywhere, and the process is Procure-to-Pay. So mostly if you want to look at how companies actually work with RPA, you need to see what is the RPA tool. Okay, RPA tool is, you don't have to use automation anywhere. You can use Blue Prism, UiPath, and so forth. Not UiPath, I think UX. Sorry for that. Okay, let me see let me see this. Okay. So what is Ericsson's involved? Ericsson started in 1876. Okay, it's a B2B business. Okay, headquarters in Stockholm, in Sweden. Okay, this is the key areas of business for Ericsson. It's looking at 5G, 4G, LTE, and Ericsson is one of the global leaders in 5G technology deployment. They have digital services, managed services, emerging technologies, okay, and enterprise wireless solutions. So the client base of Ericsson will be AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Vodafone, Bharti Airtel, and Telstra. Okay, let's have a look at the revenue model for Ericsson. So Ericsson generates revenue, okay, through hardware and software sales, recurring service contracts, and licensing of patents. Okay, so RPA at Ericsson. Ericsson faced significant manual effort and compliance challenges across their global procurement and finance teams. So they applied RPA to automate several high-volume rule-based tasks across the P2P lifecycle. And here we have the RPA automation at Ericsson. So these are the P2P tasks which are automated. Okay, let's have a look at the first one: purchase requisition validation, in which in which bots check the PR. PR is the purchase requisition for completeness, cost centers, approval, supply code, everything. And then at purchase order creation, the RPA bots auto-generated POs from approved PRs in SAP. So since they're using SAP, right? So they're actually having an edge because SAP is very high end. And invoice receipt, bots read invoices using OCR. They wouldn't be able to read. Okay, they don't have eyes, but they would have the OCR as a tool, and would key in the information into the SAP system. And then they would have the three-way matching. The bots will cross-check the PO, GRN, invoice data in SAP and flag mismatches. Okay, so who is going to look at the flag mismatches? Usually it's human. Okay, and then vendor master data management, automated updates to supply data, reducing errors and duplication. And finally, payment processing, bots schedule payments, send payment confirmations, and update SAP systems. So, okay, this is what is actually analyzed. Okay, so you can see consultants, analysts would do this in companies before and after, because when they want to implement something, they have to present to the board of directors saying that when we implement the RPA system, that I promise you that it's going to be better for the company. So they have to actually collate all this data. So what has been found is that looking at the invoice processing time, okay, before RPA is 5 days roughly. After RPA is less than 1 day. So it's 80% faster. PO processing accuracy, 85% correct, but after RPA is more than 98% because the robots are doing it with no human error. And manual interventions before RPA is frequent because it means that human has to go intervene every so forth, but with RPA is reduced by 60 to 70%. And then we have the P2P cost per invoice. Before RPA is higher due to manual labor, but after RPA is reduced by 40%. And for the metrics for the compliance or audit readiness, before RPA manual logs, after RPA fully automated and auditable bot logs. Okay. Now let's have a look at the key benefits observed by Ericsson. So we have standardized P2P process across global locations, improve vendor satisfaction due to faster invoice clearance, reduce human errors is very important, reduce human errors in PO and invoice data, 24/7 bot operation, no delays due to time zones or business hours, quick ROI, initial investment recoup within 6 months. Wow, amazing. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, now we're going to look at other examples of P2P enhanced with RPA. Here are several real-world examples of P2P processes enhanced with RPA across various industries and ERP platforms. So we're not just going to look at SAP platforms. There are some on Oracle, Dynamics. So these are the examples. How global companies automate tasks like processing, purchase order creation, vendor management, and three-way matching. So we have here, first one, Coca-Cola Bottling Company United. So the industry is beverage manufacturing. The ERP system is SAP. RPA tool is Automation Anywhere. Process automated invoice data extraction from PDFs using OCR. We know that. OCR are the eyes of the robot. PO creation and delivery to suppliers, invoice to PO matching, through matching, payment and scheduling. Impact, reduce. Okay, the most important thing is the impact. Okay, the impact is reduce invoice processing time by 90%. My goodness. Achieve 100% compliance in payment schedules. Over 20 bots deployed to support shared services team. That's what they want, actually. Next is HP, Hewlett Packard. The industry is technology. ERP is Oracle. Okay, it's not SAP, it's Oracle. RPA tool is Blue Prism. Process automated, supply onboarding and validation, invoice exception handling, duplicate invoice detection, payment batch validation. Okay, impact. Now let's have a look. This is the important part, the impact. Reduce accounts payable backlog during peak season. Okay. Is very important. Minimize overpayments and payment delays and enable 24/7 finance operations across regions, because they're just not based in one country, they are all over the world. So they need to run 24/7. Okay. Unilever, next is looking at consumer goods industry. ERP is SAP, RPA tool, UiPath. Yeah, I was right, UiPath. I didn't say UX path, right? So UiPath. Process automated, automatic conversion of purchase requisition to purchase orders. Amazing. Vendor master data updates, invoice approvals via email and SAP integration. Daily reconciliation of payment runs. Impact, save over 30,000 hours per year of manual processing. Reduce PO cycle time by 40%. Enable touchless invoice processing across countries. Kellogg's industry is food manufacturing. ERP is SAP. RPA tool is Automation Anywhere. Process automated is GRN generation, email-based invoice data capture, supply communication and follow-ups, invoice archiving for audit compliance. Impact. This is the most important. Impact, improve accuracy in invoice posting. This is very important. Enhance visibility in vendor payments. And finally, supported faster monthly close cycle. Yes, this is what should have happened 20 years ago, but didn't. So, so luckily something's changed nowadays. Okay, so Deutsche Bank, industry banking, ERP, SAP, RPA tool, Blue Prism, process automated, procurement approvals, invoice fraud detection using rule-based bots, purchase contract validations. Okay, impact. Achieve 50% plus reduction in manual processing errors. Amazing. Improve compliance with audit and banking regulations. Yeah, that's very important for a bank. Okay, Maersk. Okay, industry, logistic and shipping, ERP, SAP, RPA tool, UiPath, process automated, vendor invoice scanning. Okay, PDF email based, invoice to PO matching, invoice exception reporting and routing, daily payment file uploads. Impact, reduce invoice backlog by 80%, increase on-time payment to vendors, and bots process 10,000 invoices per day globally. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, thank you guys. I think we'll stop here and catch you in my next video. And okay, catch you in my next video. And my next video will be on something different, which is order to cash, O2C, not OTC. OTC is like order, oh no, over the counter. So let me see. I'll stop here. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.